I'm here today on the Right Podcast, sharing in a solo episode a few key lessons I've learned in business this year. We went through one of the hardest months we've ever had this year. Safe to say it was a trial by fire, and we came out refined. I'm going to tell the story of what happened and the 4 major lessons I learned in business. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to the Right Podcast, your source for inspiration in content writing, marketing, and strategizing. Every week, I come on and share entrepreneurial stories, online writing tips, content strategy help, and more to impact your life and habits as a content marketer. Welcome to the show. So this year hasn't been an easy year for me. In fact, it's been one of the hardest years in business that I've ever had. And it goes back to one day in May when I had this gut feeling that something was off. It was like knowing that I had a mole somewhere in my business, but I couldn't really identify or pinpoint what exactly was going on or what the problem was. So that month I paid everyone, and then I had nothing left to pay myself. Where was my money going? What was I missing? I took a dive deeper and I audited the business after payroll that day, working late into the night and looking into all our finances at the company. I was shocked. 2 of my main staff members were claiming 3 times the work they had actually done. My stomach felt sick, and I immediately called my CTO, Joshua. He was infuriated. We weren't going to leave anything to chance, so we took next action steps and worked that entire weekend. And stay tuned because I'll share with you in the second business lesson coming up every step I took to resolve problems and satisfy our entire client base. The discovery in May rocked our world, and it felt like the worst thing that could have happened to me. But it was the launchpad to some serious wins we've had this year. It's been 3 months since this happened, and not only have we fully recovered, but we've reinvented so many of our processes that we've seen a higher client satisfaction rate than we've ever had. We have deeper team communications, and I'm hands-on in the training for every single new hire. We've found amazing new writers in the past few months. I've trained new staff members, and we've brought on some truly creative minds that are the force behind our better quality. So, safe to say, we're in a better place than we've ever been, all thanks to the scary month of May and what it did to inspire me to take better steps. And it took me a while to even want to do this, but I'm here recording on the podcast and sharing 4 key lessons I learned the hard way this year. You ready? So lesson 1 would be to schedule and do a deep audit on your business finances every few months if you run and own a business. I know this sounds like a step that could be left up to your accountant. You could let someone else take care of it, but you should never ever sit back and think that you don't have to do this step. It's vital to know where every penny is going so you can instantly see where you're wasting money and close up the holes. This is especially true if you're a service-related business, relying on people to fuel your deliverables. People are human, not a robotic machine that does everything you program it to. That's a good thing, but the bad thing is some people are good and some aren't, and you never know the absolute truth of a character till you actually see them working well in their role. So I know lesson 1 sounds really simple, just to do an audit on your business finances and your income, but it's really important. And I learned that the hard way. And now I'm scheduling an audit every 4 weeks. So lesson 2 would be, don't underestimate the value of honesty and transparency. The weekend I let our 2 managers go, I openly emailed my entire client base, which was about 4,000 people, in my subscriber list. I told them who these managers were, what they were doing, and why they were terminated that weekend. I also outlined the next steps I was taking. I was extremely open about the issues and my next steps in this letter, honest to a fault. I asked several business friends before I sent it, and they all said I shouldn't. But I'm an authentic content marketer, and I had to go with my gut and send it, and I'm so glad I did. What's crazy is what happened after I was honest. I heard back from a lot of clients. They told me things like, "Oh, that explains a lot about why we weren't happy with our last order." Or, "So sorry you just went through this. I've had a similar experience in business." And even, "So if you're hiring someone else, does that mean you can get me higher quality on my next order?" I responded to every one of these requests that day. It happened to be a Mother's Day weekend, and I told my entire list that I'd work through that weekend to hire better people and make sure everyone's order was fulfilled. And I worked over 10 hours that Saturday. We ended up having one of the busiest weekends we've ever had, with new orders coming in. It was amazing. I got a few replies that did say, "Hey, you were a little TMI," but that was about 1% of the reaction. And since I was honest about what happened right when it happened, I also followed up with my list after we made some definite improvements with an increased client success percentage to show for it. I also put a recap together of what happened, put this on our blog. In that recap, I talked about what we did to improve our team. This maintained transparency. It was also another gut move on my part, and I got a lot of positive feedback from that step as well. I'll post a link to this blog recap in today's show notes. So it's amazing how transparency can unite you that much more to your client base. All in all, I think that at our heart, every human being has the ability to relate to other humans. So even if it's your client base, if you give them that level of authenticity, they'll respect you in the end for it. So lesson 3 is a hard one, and it's that you can't cut corners. You can't rely on one single process, and you can't expect to put in no effort if you want to deliver an incredible product that wins your client satisfaction every single time. The next week after we terminated our managers, in May, my CTO Josh and I put in over 90 hours in that 1 week just to restructure our team, figure out where the quality was going wrong, and create training for several new roles. I found out that a lot of the problems stemmed from our editing process. So I reinvented how we edit content, and I took out the factor that was leading to too many cooks in the kitchen. And this process has been a continual refinement with the help of our new editors. We've added some new writer training that's exclusive just to our writer base. And it's been amazing to see the results of what happens as we give our writers an environment with the opportunity and encouragement and the resources to grow. They are succeeding, and it is beautiful to watch. So my last lesson from this crazy month of May in business is that when you find amazing people that fit your company, grab them fast and don't let them go. I'm not talking about people with a long list of background experience, a great resume, college degree, or a bunch of certifications. We've been blessed to find some people who have a true passion and creativity in content marketing and are intuitive to help us build processes instead of just band-aid a problem. More and more, the creative at heart is the kind of person that is the true fit for our team. We've been listening to their suggestions, implementing it all the way through, and just creating a new environment here at Express Writers that encourages growth and inspires those who have a passion for what we do. And it's made my heart happy because I started my company on the principle of passion and growing a team of like-minded people that share my passion for online writing and content marketing. So to wrap up this episode, one more step that is going to happen for Express Writers this year that's very exciting and will just be the cherry on top of our reinvented processes is the launch of new development with a new content shop and a writer team room that my CTO, Josh, and his developers have been working on building for more than 13 months. Our content shop version 2.0 will be launching along with our custom-built writers team room in about 2 months from now. And it's going to be so much easier for our clients to order and our internal management team to pick the best fit writer for every single order. So we're really excited and we can't wait till this comes out and show you all. Stay tuned for our launch. I'll put a link if you want to sign up and get this notification in the podcast show notes. Thanks so much for joining me on today's episode of the Write Podcast. For today's show notes and more, visit expresswriters.com/write-podcast.